Welcome to Behind the Scenes for Mad Max and Papers, Please. What do those two things have in common? They both take place in obviously not Texas. This is the fourth out of our 5 10K week videos in celebration of reaching 10,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be talking about how to make a fake location by combining several completely different video and image sources. After seeing the amazing movie last year, we really wanted to make a Mad Max video, and when the game came out, it sparked an idea that we could film entirely in one location. The only problem was that all of our available locations were around Austin, which isn't known for its sandy deserts. Our deserts are made of dirt and ugly grass. We didn't want to make it entirely a green screen video either, because it takes a lot of work to make those look convincing. So to start, I looked around Google Maps for the biggest patch of bare desert I could find in Austin. It was this parking lot outside a motorcycle trail. There were still a lot of trees, but we had some cliff faces and a pretty large patch of bare rocky ground, which was a great start. It meant all our shots of emaciated Max could be filmed against an existing background, and that at least the bottom half of our wide shots could be actual footage. For the car shots, I initially thought I would position the camera high enough to only catch the ground outside the windows, but ended up going with a green screen instead, which worked out much better in the end. Once I had the footage in After Effects, I used keying, rotoscoping, and masks to cut out only the parts I wanted to keep. Then I started filling in the blanks. These cliffs are the ones from the real location, blended into the ground with some mask feathering. I also extended the ground with photos I took while scouting the location, and used the mesh warp to adjust the perspective. For the backgrounds, I collected some desert stock footage from a site called Video Blocks, which I have a year's subscription to because I needed one shot for the guards themselves. But with everything I've downloaded, it's already more than paid for itself, especially compared to the prices on some other sites. Lastly, I found some photos of the sky, specifically containing very thin clouds, and blended that over the original. At this point, we've completed most of the work. Our scene now exists. But even though all the parts are in place, it doesn't look like a complete scene because none of the colors match. Thankfully, there's a really easy way to fix all that, and it works even if you're colorblind, I think. Pick one piece of footage you want to match everything else to, I'm using the background, and then add the levels effect to something else. In levels, select the first color, red, and then also choose red from this little button with the 3 colored circles. This will change your view to a grayscale representation of only the red color channel. Now, using the levels controls, adjust the color of your footage until it matches your reference footage. Do this for each of the 3 colors, and when you get back to normal view, it should match. Keep in mind that this trick doesn't really work unless your reference footage has a good sample of all the colors. Repeat that process for every element in your scene, and you have one complete shot. In our video, we also needed a car. Since we are not blessed with the time or skill necessary to animate a CGI vehicle, I had to do some cheating. Pro tip: cheating is great. It's way faster and nobody cares. I used the Mad Max game to steal some cars from the characters in the game and recorded them doing whatever I needed, mostly sitting still and looking pretty. Thankfully, the graphics were excellent, so the footage actually blended in pretty well, even though I had to mask them out by hand. It's not perfect, but it's a totally passable solution for a YouTube comedy sketch made in a few days for no money. Sometimes we need a location that doesn't exist anywhere in real life, and at those times we turn to making digital sets. In our Papers, Please video, we needed an Arstotzkan border checkpoint. Based on the limited graphics from the games, I knew I was looking for a small interior location with an open door on either side of a walkway and a window somewhere in the middle. Rather than try to find a building like that in real life, we just shot the important parts in a big open room. Specifically, Jeffrey in front of a dark background with a desktop surface to interact with. Then I built the rest of the room in some 3D modeling software called Blender. Blender is totally free, and as far as I can tell, can hold its own against any expensive professional software. If you're at all interested in 3D modeling, I highly recommend it. I'm not great at it, but I know enough to build some basic architectural shapes, apply a few textures, and set up convincing lighting. For this model, I was able to match the lighting we had on set because I was there, but sometimes you just have to figure it out by looking at the scene. I won't get into the details of using Blender in this video because lots of people have already done that far better than I ever could. If you're interested in learning it, I personally recommend going through some tutorials on blenderguru.com. If you'd like us to elaborate on anything from this video, please leave us a question in the comments and we'll be happy to answer you. In tomorrow's behind the scenes video, we'll be covering last year's finale, Self-Fulfilling Idiocy 4, and recapping everything we've learned so far. Until then, thanks for helping us get to 10,000 subscribers, and have a great week. Ta-da!